Hello everyone, welcome to Literature with Noor Basar. We are going to discuss the importance of literature. Why do we study literature? Why do we need to study literature in our lives? When we study science or another field of knowledge, for example, when we study botany, we study the practical aspect of plants. We observe plants, we study their nature, we study their characteristics, and on the basis of our study, we derive practical knowledge. So this is a practical activity. We make use of this practical knowledge and we make life better. By making the life of plants better, we make human life better. So that is the practical aspect of studying plants. And this study is what we call botany. But literature is different. Literature offers no practical knowledge. Literature gives you nothing practical. So what is the need of studying literature if it gives you nothing practical? Well, it may not serve any practical end, but it serves something for which all other ends or goals exist, humanity. So literature is not based on what other sciences or fields of knowledge are based on. Literature is based on soft human emotions. For example, empathy, love, feelings. So what are those feelings that make us human? All those feelings that we feel when we study a piece of creative writing. When we listen to a beautiful verse, we feel elated. We feel an emotion which is different from the intellectual delight we derive from studying mathematics or from studying other natural sciences. So this is literature. What is the importance of literature? Why do we need to study literature? The most important service that literature does to us is that it makes us realize freedom in our lives. Freedom is the most precious thing in our lives. Literature helps us realize that. Literature helps us realize the significance of freedom. For example, when we study a piece of creative writing, when we study drama, novel, or poetry, we participate in the world of characters who are in a dialogue with one another, who are free to share their views, who are free to assert their views, who are free to participate in a world of their tastes. So this is not a world of truth, it is a world of truths. Everyone has a chance to speak. For example, when you read a novel, you see there are characters. Every character has a point of view, has a perspective. And he or she tries to justify that perspective. There is no singular authority in that world. And this lack of central authority in the world of literature, this lack of authority, this lack of totalitarianism makes us realize what freedom is. In the words of Mikhail Bakhtin, it's a carnival in which every character is in a dialogue with another character. So this is the first important aspect of literature. This is the most important function that literature serves. It makes us realize freedom. Another service that literature does to humanity is that it frees humanity of prejudices and biases. Man is prejudiced. Man is biased. He always looks at things from a perspective. Perspectivism is prejudice. But when we read literature, we feel that there is no perspective but perspectives. And those perspectives create a world of multiplicity and plurality. And this world of multiplicity and plurality, when we participate, we feel joy. We feel something that is of aesthetic importance. And this is why we enjoy literature. When we read history, for example, history is written from a perspective. Everyone speaks from a perspective. When we read history, for example, we read a narrative controlled by a power. So the truth in history is power. And power in history is the truth promoted by power. But in literature, there is no power. There are perspectives, there are opinions, there are vices, and those vices then fight for assertion. We feel joy when we study poetry, when we study drama or novel, or when we sit in a cinema and watch a movie. We feel elated, we feel a joy. Why? What is their joy? Where does their joy come from? The answer is simple. Because the world we encounter when we read literature is a different world. The world that we encounter is a world created not according to the traditional taste, but according to a taste which is desired. So in us there is a desire to see the world in its renewed form. Literature defamiliarizes the world. Literature renews reality. Literature gives us different perspectives. Literature enlarges our thinking. Literature makes us doubt things. Literature makes us critical thinkers. And this is the importance of literature. Literature promotes critical thinking. Critical thinking is required for a progressive society. A society where people are not critical thinkers is a stagnant society. Literature helps us promote critical thinking because literature allows us to participate in a world in which there are many perspectives, in which there are many truths. And when we participate in that world of many truths, many perspectives, we begin doubting our own rigid perspective. We begin doubting that which we have believed for so many years. And that is the beginning of thinking, because doubt is the very base of critical thinking. When we doubt something, we actually want to think over the reality of that thing. And when we haven't rejected something in its traditional form, we cannot renew reality. For the renewal of reality, it is necessary to problematize the existing reality. In literature, existing reality is problematized. That is why literature does not reflect life. Literature does not represent life. Literature creates a world of its own, where the terms and conditions are dictated not by the real life in the real world, but by the mechanism of language, the mechanism dictated by genre, and the mechanism dictated by the literary norms established in a particular era or in a particular period. So, for the promotion of critical thinking, the study of literature is important. Last but not the least, literature promotes democracy. Literature opposes fascism. Literature has opposed Nazism, and literature has always opposed centralized power. Literature promotes a world of plurality, and democracy is a name given to a system which promotes plurality, which honors plurality, and which respects plurality. So, for a democratic world, for a democratic society, literature is of paramount importance.